Good evening, Tallahassee. It is Friday, March 18th, and it's 6 o'clock, which means it's time for another edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Margaret Hollis.
I'm meteorologist Ulises Garcia. It's been a gloomy Friday here at the FSU.
Yeah, the clouds have been hanging around all day, but it hasn't rained, and for that I'm grateful because I don't like walking between classes with wet shoes.
Yeah, I remember that situation. It's just, yeah, it's really annoying when the rain comes, especially during class time, but you know, when it comes to the cloud cover, we should be grateful after the hot start we have now. Temperatures are finally back to normal.
Yeah, temperatures today have been much nicer. That might actually need to pull a sweater out this evening. But I'm so grateful that temperatures have cooled down from those upper 80s that we were seeing earlier this week.
Yeah, so I mean, we broke 88 on Monday and Tuesday, 89 on Wednesday, and now we're in the 70s. And before you know, by early next week, we'll be falling into the 60s. So we have a little bit of everything in this last week alone.
Yeah, well, it's spring in Tallahassee, and that means we get those ups and downs with our temperatures as the seasons are transitioning. It also means that pollen's out in force too.
Yeah, the pollen was in force early in the week. My car was all yellowed out, and as well as everybody else's car. But with the rain now, that's actually going to clear it away, and that's great news before it comes back again.
Yep, but for now, we're going to send it out to the wall with Shane to take an overview of the rest of the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Today we did see a lot of gloomy skies over Tallahassee, but not a lot of rain. Check out the last 6 hours on radar. Nothing over Leon County. The rain was staying mostly offshore, which was a good thing because I forgot my umbrella today. But now it's starting to move onshore into the Carabel region as well as St. Mark's. Taking a look at the bigger picture, we can see that the rain really stretches for several hundred miles from Pensacola out to Panama City, and it's been hanging out mostly offshore today, but the front is going to be making a return and the rain will be back in our hair before we know it. The clouds did keep the temperatures nice and cool today, 72 degrees right now in the capital, 70 in St. Mark's, as well as in Wilma. 70 is the temperature to be this evening. And we're going to cool down to 62 degrees tonight, 80% chance of rain. We're expecting that rain to really stick around tonight and into tomorrow as well. Let's take a quick glance at what we're expecting for Saturday here in the Big Bend region, dropping that chance of rain just a little bit, but it will be a bit of a washout as days go, so you better keep that umbrella handy, as well as maybe some rain boots or a poncho if you haven't got an umbrella around. But let's break down the show for you before we get started tonight. The rain will be making a comeback. We are seeing showers and thunderstorms through Saturday, and the sun will be making a return finally on Sunday afternoon. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Shane. Right now, me and Margaret, we're going to talk about today in weather history.
Yeah, usually we'll jump around a couple different stories that happened on different years in weather history, but from a meteorological standpoint, today's a particularly big day in weather history because on this day in 1925, the tri-state tornado hit.
Yes, the tri-state tornado. It's considered the deadliest tornado in U.S. history. It went through 3 states, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana.
Yeah, the path that it took was over 200 miles long, weaving through those 3 states, and it ended up killing 695 people.
Yes, a very deadly storm. It was rated on the old Fujita scale as an F5 tornado, which is the strongest level.
Yeah. Thankfully, these days we have better communications about the tornado and severe weather threats, so keep those weather radios handy as we do see a chance of storms over the next couple days. But now let's send it out to the wall with Casey.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pretty murky day around our viewing circle. Cloud cover really in place across the region. Now, temperature-wise, 72. Not getting into those 80s because of all that. Now, the humidity is pretty high, though, so it is sticky, 76%. There's winds south-southeast at 5 miles an hour. Temperature-wise, across the Big Bend, 72 Tallahassee, 70 St. Mark's, and 70 in many of our other areas as well. Wilma, Carabel, Apalachicola, even Thomasville, up to the northern Georgia, too. Now, wind-wise, you see the flow coming off the Gulf, 5 miles an hour, St. Mark's, 5 in Tallahassee. That flow in general bringing in some Gulf moisture, and that will mean a chance for some shower and thunderstorm activity in the overnight hours and tomorrow as well. Something we'll definitely keep an eye on for you. Can't even run an isolated strong storm as we are under a marginal risk for our coverage area tomorrow. satellite and radar now. Again, we're watching this shower activity approach the initial line, per se, of a little bit of a wave of activity that will be moving through. We're almost starting to get into some of this in Liberty County. Also parts of counties down toward the south, like Franklin, Carabel, Apalachicola, too. Now, over the next 36 hours, though, now this model here may be a little bit slow to react to some of the rainfall. We'll be making its way through, but to 8 p.m. tonight, it is trying to say some pretty clear conditions around Tallahassee. I actually think some shower activity will be making its way in, though. So if you have some evening plans, make sure you keep an eye out for that. Have that umbrella on hand, a poncho as well. As we get into more afternoon, more shower and thunderstorm activity. So again, if you have outdoor activities, you may want to think about postponing them even, as it does not look like a very pretty day to be outside. 62 tonight, showers and thunderstorms are likely. The rain, too, will be around. South-southeast at 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow, again, mostly cloudy is the story. Now, your winds south at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. So definitely the story around here. Again, just murky feeling, the rain really around. So again, if you're just going out tomorrow, just get through it, because on Sunday things will be much nicer. There's beautiful conditions around. It'll be a day you'll definitely want to enjoy, as we see temperatures only getting into the 60s. I'll actually go ahead and look at that now in that 7-day forecast. You see only 65 on your Sunday, 20% chance of rain. So a few isolated showers could be around. Monday, same story, really. But look at that morning low, 38 degrees. It's going to be nice, refreshing feeling. Same thing on your Tuesday. Now, as we get later into the period of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, step out of the way, you can see exactly what's going on with that. 75 Wednesday, 79 Thursday, 75 on Friday. Some shower activity will be around then. So we'll watch to see how that does evolve. But right now, we'll go ahead and take things over to Ulises for a look at the southeast.
All right, thank you, Casey. Right now on the southeast, you do see most of the rain over into parts of the southern Mississippi Valley and also parts of I-10 pushing towards Pensacola. There is a flash flood watch in effect for parts of the western Panhandle, Alabama, and Mississippi until later on tonight. We also do have severe thunderstorm watches in effect into parts of Louisiana till 10 o'clock tonight as well, and into parts of Texas as well. We do have flash flood watches in effect all around. So the temperatures right now very warm and mild ahead of that cold front, with those southerly winds bringing those temperatures into the 60s and 70s, 71 in New Orleans, 63 in Shreveport, a toasty 84 degrees in Miami. So you can see all that orange is spreading all the way up into Virginia, but the cool air is already behind it all the way in Kansas and Oklahoma. The wind speeds right now relatively calm, around 5 to 10 miles per hour for a majority of the region, but the winds have been mostly out of the south, so that's been helping bring up those thunderstorms and those rain showers and just that moisture into the air the last 24 hours. The relative humidity, 73% in New Orleans, 84% in Shreveport. And that's when it comes to thunderstorms, that is the type of moisture that you need, just high amounts of it just to help, build up any convection and just activity with those storms. But however, in Atlanta, we do see 26%, 28 in Wilmington, but these numbers are going to rise for them as that moisture ahead of that stationary front pushes up into the north in the next day or so. Water vapor in the upper levels, however, we do see a lot of that green. That is the moisture maintaining itself over throughout the southeast. Right now, because of all that rain and that system is just going to persist here with that stationary front for the next day or so, a lot of green will continue, and that will keep most of the southeast really cloudy before conditions change as we go towards the second half of the weekend. The Futurecast radar, we do see most of the rain going into the Carolinas by the time we go into Saturday and Saturday afternoon, and also to parts of eastern Florida and Georgia. The slight chance of severe weather persists over North Florida, southern Georgia, and southern Alabama, and it's even the southern tip of South Carolina. So Savannah, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Mobile are a few of the towns getting into that severe weather. There's even a chance for some winter weather up into parts of the southern Appalachians going into Saturday night into Sunday. There's also a freeze watch and freeze warnings in effect parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas for tonight. Tonight's temperatures are going to be 42 in Little Rock, warm towards the south in Tallahassee and Orlando in the 60s. And by the time we get to tomorrow, a chilly 62 degrees for Little Rock. And that's a sign for things to come here in Tallahassee for the second half of the weekend. But storms and umbrellas will be needed for the rest of the southeast. And now me and Margaret are going to talk about rockets.
Yeah. Getting into early next week, once that front is cleared out, down at Kennedy Space Center along the east coast of Florida, United Launch Alliance, which is one of the companies that contracts with NASA, will be launching one of its rockets to the ISS.
Yes, the rockets will be launching, and obviously, when it comes to rockets, usually that's all dependent on the weather, so hopefully if that launch goes through, weather cooperating next week.
Yeah, the front looks like it'll be clearing out over the weekend, so it should be a great week for rocket launch. I know one of the past launches, one of our friends, Matt, who's running the controls for this show, he was able to watch that from here in Tallahassee.
Yes, Matt will be breaking down a lot of that rocket launches, especially next week on Monday and Tuesday. So we'll take it over now to Tyler with a look on the U.S.
Thank you guys at the desk. We're going to be looking at the national, and this is actually a very colorful map, so I'm going to be stepping off here to show you all the watches and warnings we have across the nation. The pink and purples are areas of small craft advisories and also high surf areas. Those are the marine areas off the east, west coast, and also in the Gulf of Mexico. More importantly, these areas in green in the central Mississippi River Valley, those are flood watches. From all the rain we had last week, we had about a foot of rain, which is a ton of rain to get in a little bit of time. We also have the severe thunderstorm watch with a slight risk of severe weather over the central areas of the plains, and some cold air resulting in a freeze watch over Oklahoma and also Missouri and Arkansas. Some of that cold air is coming our way, as you'll see in our next local. Satellite and radar shows we do have snow, which is pretty rare to see for mid to late March over the Midwest, and even as far south as Kansas, and not the normal suspect areas like North Dakota, and we also have some showers over the Gulf Coast regions. Looking into the Northeast, this is an area that could see some very strong winter weather going into next week, the very start of next week. We have some nice lake effect snow coming off of Lake Erie at this time, entering into the south towns of Buffalo, those areas. If you're going on the airport, in two airports around the nation, there's good news. In general, there is very little in the way of actual delays, except for New York City, where we have about a 30-minute delay right now due to some wet weather. As we go into the future cast, we have that big area of rain that will be showing you in the Gulf Coast region. That'll progress slowly northeastward as we go later on into the night. We also have a little bit of snow, and this is sort of the blizzard possibility, or at least strong winds associated with this over central New England and also the Northeast. But for tonight, it will be very cold, especially over the western portion of the nation. Look at that, it's late March, 15 degrees in Denver, even colder than that in Yellowstone. Still very warm here. Tomorrow, temperatures will be very warm in Tallahassee. This model has 81. A little bit cooler up in the northern tier, but 90 degrees. Yes, that's 90 in Phoenix. But for right now, we are going to send over to Jake with a look at our local.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. Let's start off with those temperatures over the last 20 hours, and I know what you're thinking. What happened to the 80s? Well, if you looked outside your window, you could see all that cloud cover, all that rainfall over the past 24 to 36 hours or so, really keeping those temperatures pretty mild. We hit a low of 63 about 8, 9 o'clock this morning, eventually heated up to 72 degrees earlier in the afternoon, and that's what it is right about now across much of the Big Bend, 72. Here in Tallahassee, 66 being the cool spot. Over in Mariana, where some of that rainfall is beginning to push its way into the western parts of the viewing area, as we'll examine in just a little bit. 70 degrees by the coast in Carabel and Apalachicola. Local radar is showing just that. As rainfall is starting to push its way in towards Panama City, into parts of our area now. Apalachicola and Carabel getting some light showers, and it's going to be getting heavier as the evening progresses and then pushing eventually towards Tallahassee after sunfall. Now, expanding it to the rest of the southeast, there's a pretty nasty area of rain over in centered Mississippi right now, over near Jackson. Severe thunderstorm watch was issued at about 4:45 Eastern time. That included parts of eastern Texas stretching into Mississippi, and that's going to be continuing on through the evening as these storms propagate their way towards the east and again towards our area. Let's talk futurecast now and see exactly what's going to be happening over the next 36 hours. Setting this into motion, again, these storms are going to be pushing their way through tonight, and another round is definitely possible on Saturday, really even into parts of Sunday morning. It should be calm by then, though. It's going to be looking nice for your Sunday afternoon plans, although a lot cooler, as we'll talk about in our 7-day outlook, with those temperatures dipping down into the 60s just for high temperatures. Tonight, though, 62 for a low. Showers and thunderstorms are a likelihood. Winds coming out of the south-southeast at 5 miles per hour as that stationary front just does not budge. But again, tomorrow it will be starting to move its way out of our area, setting up for some pretty nice conditions ahead. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Tomorrow afternoon, let's check this out. 76 degrees for a high. 70% chance of rain. Again, that's going to be sticking around for your Saturday plans, unfortunately, with that wind still coming out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. So staying cloudy, staying rainy, and not exactly the hot temperatures that we saw earlier in the week when those got to record-breaking values up near 90 degrees. Now let's talk the next 7 days to see just the light at the end of the tunnel here. Sunday, 65 degrees. The cool down begins here. One more dose of the 30s potentially. You never know if there could be some more. But 38 for a low Monday night with a slight chance of rain, but as we go into Tuesday through Wednesday, into Thursday, where those temperatures are going to start to rise back up, nothing but sunshine. It's going to be looking like a fantastic, fantastic time to get outside and really enjoy this fantastic Florida weather. Finally starting to make its way back here as we approach April and approach the official start of spring in just a couple of days. So, Casey, we're at the desk together, and it's a little bit different this time. Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the vice president this year of the North Florida chapter of the AMS NWA, but next year, this guy right here, Jake Carstens, he's got that, and I know he's going to do a great job ahead next year. He's really earned it, and I'm just really proud of him.
Well, congratulations to all of the board who was elected on Wednesday night in a meeting that definitely took a while for sure. There was some pretty good debating going on. There was a lot of qualified candidates. I'm really excited about the future of this chapter for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to do a great job next year. I'm just really excited to see what they're going to put forth. Matt Reagan's going to be the president. He's in our control room tonight, running everything for us. Vice President, of course, you. Our treasurer will be Andres Rondon. Our secretary will be Aisa Wilkinson, and Nicole Steves for science and outreach.
FSU Weather, well represented, am I right?
Familiar faces, absolutely, and that's great to see.
Fantastic.
Great to see the interconnection between the two. But right now, we'll go ahead and take it over to the wall where we have Margaret standing by.
Thanks, guys. The entire Sunshine State, not quite as sunny unless you're going down south, in which case you got a lot more breaks in the clouds. Up here in North Florida, though, it's pretty cloudy. We've been seeing some showers throughout the day in some regions of the northern parts of the state, but overall it's just been a very cloudy day. Looking around at our current temperatures up here in North Florida, it's pretty cool. We're sitting in the low 70s here, Tallahassee and Valdosta, both at 72. Going further west to places like Pensacola and Crestview, we see temperatures down at 64 degrees with these cooler green shades. So over the next couple of days, we will be seeing these cool temperatures make their way to the east, coming this way. Zooming out to the rest of the state, the only places that are really seeing sunshine are Fort Myers at 83 degrees and Key West all the way down south at 81 degrees. The rest of the state's sitting relatively warm, the upper 60s, low 70s across the I-10 stretch, and as you go south into the peninsula, we're seeing more of those low to mid 80s. Now, the relative humidity up here in North Florida is very high, getting up to 94% in Pensacola. There's almost as much air in the atmosphere as there can be. But as you get down to South Florida, 45% relative humidity down in Miami. Now, as we look at the dew points here, the greens here are almost all the same, so that means that the actual amount of water, like if you took a measuring cup, it would be about the same amount of water, but there's so much that can be held in the atmosphere, so the relative humidities are different. Current winds are largely coming out of the south. That's bringing all that moisture into the air here in Florida. 10 miles an hour in Pensacola, 12 in Orlando, and all that's bringing moisture in, which will be fueling the showers that we'll be seeing over the next couple days through the weekend, raining on any outdoor weekend plans that you may have, but bringing cooler temperatures in for the week. As we look at the radar here, we're going to see these showers make their way across the state. They're going to be a little bit sporadic here and there. There will be a good line making its way through North Florida during the day on Saturday. But the showers are just going to be making their way through the state, kind of here and there. It's going to rain sometime over the weekend. The exact when and where's kind of by chance, but it will be raining. Tonight we're going to cool down to 64 up here in Tallahassee. Similar temperatures across the entire stretch of the Florida Panhandle. Warmer down in the south, getting up to 72 in Miami and even 76 in Key West. It's going to be a little bit muggy with all that moisture. Tomorrow, story of the day is going to be rain. But rain's not a big impact on basketball, and I understand you guys are going to be talking about the NCAA tournament here at the desk.
Thanks a lot, Margaret. And yes, it is time for sports weather. Murfreesboro, Tennessee is now a pretty happy place, but a lot of the bracketologists out there, the millions playing those ESPN bracket challenges, not so happy after Middle Tennessee pulled the monumental upset of second-seeded Michigan State earlier today to really set March Madness into motion.
Yeah, just incredible. One of the biggest upsets in NCAA tournament history. It had only happened 7 times before this took place today. Last one with Florida Gulf Coast just a few years ago. And that was so exciting then for Fort Myers. Now for Murfreesboro, of course, I'm sure the town's just buzzing.
And they got a winnable game coming up against 10-seeded Syracuse, who did lock down Dayton today. They played some fantastic defense to dominate that game. Ended up winning 70-51, if I recall correctly. But it is going to be an interesting next couple of weeks as we head to that Elite Eight and see how our bracket challenge goes. If I can unseat you from the throne here.
Yeah, right now he's actually winning the one we have for the chapter. So that's great to see. Not too far behind though, so I'll see if I can catch up with him.
It's a tight race.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to go. I mean, we're just in the second day, and the points values really go up as you get into later games, second, third round.
Yeah, well, let's talk the women's side, because Florida State's still alive, even though the men's team had just fallen to Valparaiso and been eliminated from the NIT, of course. That was a pretty heartbreaking situation, but we are excited for the next couple of years on the men's side. But now let's talk with the women's team, who, as we mentioned earlier this week, President Obama picked to make the Final Four, currently as a 5 seed, and guess who they're playing in the first round?
Middle Tennessee State. Let's hope they don't have a double really out of this and get 2 victories. Hopefully we can take care of them tomorrow over in College Station, Texas.
If you're going to head out to watch that game, it'll be definitely nationally televised. We are going to be expecting some rainfall, of course, as we were talking about earlier. Temperatures getting up into the mid-70s with storms a likelihood. So umbrellas, ponchos, all of that, and keep the alert systems out there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Have those on hand as we'll keep an eye on maybe a risk for some stronger storms, marginal risk in place from the Storm Prediction Center. So just stay tuned for alerts. We'll be here and giving you updates on live stream if conditions do warrant that tomorrow afternoon.
Now let's shift our focus over to softball, who is playing against Syracuse this weekend, opening up ACC play again. They're off to a fantastic start. Nationally ranked, as they usually are. Just recently went to the College World Series a couple of years back, of course. Again, the first time playing in the ACC this season. They're going to be playing Saturday and Sunday at the Joanne Graff Softball Complex. Saturday, like we said, not really going to be the best day to get out there, but Sunday they will be, first pitch, I believe, is at 1 o'clock, and those temperatures are going to be nice, comfortable middle 60s with partly cloudy skies as we kick off the ACC season softball-wise. There's just a little bit of everything going on around here.
Yeah, refreshing, so go out and enjoy that tomorrow. It just should be a great day to do that. Or actually not tomorrow, of course. We're talking about Sunday. Now tomorrow, again, the shower activity will be around. But on Sunday, those temperatures will just be great. And as we get into Monday and Tuesday as well, we're going to be seeing those temperatures in the upper 30s. So it just should be refreshing around here. And even for FSU baseball Tuesday night, they're playing Central Florida at 6 o'clock. Hopefully those conditions will be nice. It's looking like it based on some of the latest model data coming in.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get out there, that's for sure. So let's get things wrapped up here. Send it out to Shane for one last look at the local weather.
Thanks, guys. I think it's going to be a good weekend to stay inside and watch a lot of these games because it's going to be a wet one. Right now in Tallahassee, it's just overcast with a temperature of 72 degrees. So the clouds have been keeping the heat out of our way, but they're going to be bringing the rain along with them. Spreading our gaze to see the entire Big Bend region, we see that 72 degrees is a popular temperature here and in Monticello, with some locations already dipping down into the 60s, just hovering around that 70-degree mark in the Big Bend area. and the relative humidity is really spiking out there. This is a percentage, so the higher the percentage, the more moisture in the atmosphere. And we can see down here in Apalachicola, they're almost at 100%, so it is extremely humid on the coast right now, and that's going to be pressing on into our region as the rain begins to move in as well. Winds right now are coming out of the south off the coast, and they're bringing with them all that moisture, which is really fueling the showers that are beginning to come back into our region, along with that stationary front. And as we look at the bigger picture, we can find that front on this map pretty clearly. It's defined by this mass of clouds and rain that's sort of hugging the coastline along the Gulf Coast from New Orleans, along with Pensacola, and out here in the Big Bend. Lots of clouds for sure, with rain that was staying offshore earlier today, but is beginning to make a return. So if you had any thoughts of putting away your umbrella, I'm going to tell you to bring it right back out, because you're going to need it this evening and into the day tomorrow. Let's break down the futurecast for you and see exactly what we're talking about. Showers will be spotty overnight. We're expecting a large amount of rain to come through, especially in the afternoon hours tomorrow. So if you've got any outdoor plans, maybe you're planning to play some disc golf tomorrow evening, you might want to just have a pizza instead, because it's not going to be great weather for disc golfing. But the good news is that Sunday will be living up to its name. Once the rain finally clears on out of our region, we'll just be seeing some spotty clouds as the sun begins to go down and conclude the weekend. But the rain will finally be getting out of our hair. It's only been here 2 days, but it feels like forever with all those gray skies over Tallahassee. But as for tonight's forecast, 80% chance of rain, so that's pretty much a sure thing this evening. Get out the umbrellas and whatever other rain gear you might be needing, and maybe even a light jacket too, because it's going to get down to 62 degrees. In fact, make it a windbreaker, something that will repel the water, and keep it around tomorrow, because we're only going to be climbing up to 76 degrees. It'll at least be a little warmer than it was today, but it'll still be cloudy, it will still be wet, and it'll be a great day to stay inside and study. But then once that finally gets out of our region, we can see in the 7 days ahead, cooler conditions will come along early next week with lows in the 30s, so you might need that jacket again as we get out for class on Monday morning. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks so much, Shane. Yeah, that jacket will definitely be coming out for Monday, Tuesday morning. It's going to be the coolest it's been in a few weeks.
I'm looking forward to one more dose of it. Again, it's getting close to April now. Spring is on the way in the next couple of days, but one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more time.
Yeah, nothing like what would be experienced up in Chicagoland, anything like that. Just upper 30s. And here's that 7-day in full. We do see exactly what's going to happen with that. 76 tomorrow, 65 on Sunday, and then just beautiful conditions are way after that.
Yeah, just like we were saying, the light at the end of the tunnel is actually coming a lot sooner than we would expect. You see those beautiful mid-60s coming Sunday and Monday, and then that nice, comfortable spring Florida air. That's really why I come down here, just to feel that comfort when the snowbirds are out there, of course, looking to get away. So if you want to follow us here on social media, we're all over at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we're also on livestream.com/FSU Weather. We do some severe weather updates from time to time. There is a marginal risk for tonight, so you definitely are going to want to follow us and keep track of everything that's going on around here through the overnight hours.
Yeah, especially into tomorrow, too. We'll be watching that for you closely. But for now, it's been a nice show, everybody. Great evening out there. Go ahead and enjoy it if you showered around. But for now, I'm Casey Clapp.
I'm student meteorologist Jay Carstens. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone.